Country is still reeling from the weekend's massacre, but for the city of Cape Town, mass shootings are nothing new. Almost on a weekly basis, there's a shooting in one of its townships. Let's get more from our reporter Nobesuthu Hejana, who's at the Manenberg police station for us. Good morning, Nobesuthu. You know, how does the city of Cape Town or the Western Cape in general handle such situations? Because we hear of this a lot, particularly insofar as gang violence is concerned.
Well, the city of Cape Town as well as the province, they've been trying to do some assistance with their program, which is called the LIP, where they have quite a number of officers that are under the city of Cape Town that have been dispatched in various communities. But what we've been hearing from residents in areas like Hanover Park, Lavender Hill and Manenberg, as well as Gugulethu and Khayelitsha, they're complaining about the lack of police visibility in the areas. So earlier this morning we were in Lavender Hill where we spoke to the community there. Quite a number of concerns were raised there in terms of like the safety and gang leaders ceasing fire for like 2 months, and then straight after that we saw that the community saying that the shootings and the killings they went back as usual. So for them, they're quite stressed by what has been happening in the communities, and saying that they would like more to be done, and especially by the province as well as the police and the Minister of Police, Begicele, who usually or frequents the Western Cape. So they're saying that his visits most of the times aren't yielding to any positive results because the shootings and the crime still continues in the communities.
And then how has the deployment of the SANDF, because ever so often where there would be those high crime spots, you would see that the SANDF would be deployed into those areas, but at times you would hear community members saying nothing much changes. What is really the sentiment on the ground around the occasional deployment of SANDF?
While the communities, they do want the members of the South African Defence Force to be brought back, but when we spoke to the Premier, I think it was about 2 months ago, when he held a community engagement in Athlone with the MEC of Police and Community Safety, Mr. Regan Allen, Premier Allen Winde did say that the bringing back the army is not the solution. They have introduced what they call as the dashboard, where they've been using data to sort of like monitor where they need to deploy more of their officers. So with that dashboard, they will link, or rather update, in terms of like the crimes that have been happening, and then with that they are able to sort of like deploy more officers. But the Premier was saying that bringing back the army is not the solution, because they will be brought back and then possibly stabilized for that particular period. But then after they left, it's back as usual and the crimes continue. So what he's saying that is that communities must work with the officers, and what they've been trying to do is to bring back the trust between community members and the police to ensure that there's stability in the communities.
And then insofar as the community is concerned, yes, they shouldn't be left to their own resources to try and stop the problem. But nevertheless, what are some of the interventions that they themselves have initiated to try and rid their communities of crime?
Well, where we come from this morning in Lavender Hill, we spoke to a community leader. She's a priest, so she was telling us that they've been trying to mobilize community members. They know that, I mean, they can't do much, but with them being on the streets pleading for these gangsters to cease fire, they're hoping that it will make a difference, because some of their concerns is that the children who will be going back to school are the most vulnerable one, because the shootings, they happen any time of the day, in the morning, early hours of the morning, late, and also at night. So most of their concerns is that although they're not seeing much of the police in their areas, they want community members to be mobilized so that they can try and see if they're able to win this battle. But obviously they need that police assistance.
No, it's very difficult, honestly, very difficult times across the country. Nobesuthu, we'll leave it there for now. Thank you very much for that report. That's our reporter, Nobesuthu Hejana.